Is it Uptober, Choptober, Downtober? We don't know yet, but it's looking ugly so far. We'll be discussing that and more today on Money Never Sleeps. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Before we get going today, do us a favor, hit that like button down below, subscribe to our channel. Nothing that House or I say is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Do your own research before making any buys or sells. And right now, the market is selling off. We had a little pump to start the month. People were taking their victory laps, proclaiming Uptober was here. But you know what? I just don't see it. House, I know that you're checking out the charts now as well. We saw a nice red candle there. ETH and BTC are back on their way down. ETH is below where it went on that big run, yesterday afternoon when it wicked up, to almost 1760, about 1755. Now it's back to 1655. What has gotten your attention as we kick off what I think is going to be a very choppy and volatile month in the markets?
Yeah, no, I mean, you said it. I don't know about Uptober. I think just spooky season is a better way to wrap it. Fits in with the October and Halloween season. But no, I mean, like, I think it really is spooky because it's just like you said, going to be choppy, going to be volatile. As far as what's catching my eye, I mean, just everything with crypto, not only the volatility, but futures ETFs opened. You today put out an article that volume was shockingly low. And I know Van Eck had announced as part of their futures ETF, they're going to be putting 10% of proceeds, back into a fund that benefits the Ethereum ecosystem and helps contribute to that. So I think that's pretty cool. But ultimately, the ETFs have to be successful for that 10% to matter. So I think that's definitely something I'm watching. But ultimately, just turbulence. Not really sure where to look. Coinbase got their license to operate in Singapore for trading, and someone was saying on the timeline, so I don't know how trustworthy it is, but something might be coming for Coinbase to operate in Canada as well. So that's exciting on that front. But other than that, we had the government resolution late last night to save us from the shutdown. But my lord, I'm twisting my tongue. And then the UAW strike still high and flying. So it's an interesting day in the markets to say the least.
Scotch and stocks asking for an interesting play. Our guy Kevin, who's not here with us right now, he has been going heavy at the UVIX, which is a 2x long VIX future. And so, if you think like we do that we're going to have volatility ahead, and that's you want to bet on volatility. So you said not individual stock, but if you want to bet on general volatility because you think it's going to be to the upside with how low it's been overall, I would go with Kevin's UVIX play. But once again, that is not financial advice. So check that out. That is an ETF that you can easily buy. So that would be one thing I would point you toward. All right, we had that continuing resolution. It's going to give us 45 more days. Then we have to do this shit all over again. Jesus Christ. Like, can we please get any sort of like, just get this figured out, like an extended period of time for the love of God. And it's all, it's just so theatrical and it's so annoying. You got McCarthy going out there like on TV talking about how like the Democrats were trying to shut this down. And I hate politics. Like I don't identify as Democrat or Republican, but my God, it is so annoying. On your point with the futures ETF, here's what I would say. This is so priced in at this point. Like, if you really think, like, we don't know if any of these are going to get approved. Like, that is very optimistic thinking, with what we've seen so far. But B, if it doesn't get approved, that is absolutely a sell the news kind of situation, right? Like, this is not the macro backdrop for that to be some magical bull catalyst. And if it does lead to a quick spike up, that shit keeps getting sold off every single time. It's just been opportunities over and over again for people to sell from higher. So do I think long term it could have a positive impact on price action? Absolutely. But in the current state of things, I just don't see it, man. Like we all like everyone wants to be the smartest person in the room and wants to be able to like outmaneuver everybody. But guess what? It's not happening. Like we all are privy to pretty much the same information at this point. And if there's information out there that will move the markets, we don't get to know that because that's only for people in Congress and the Senate. They're the only people that get to trade with that information, not us. So if you want to beat the market, go get into politics. That's what I'm going to have
No,
to say
yeah.
about it there.
No, right on. I mean, I think looking at the resolution to keep the government from shutting down, major thing was really just that funding for Ukraine, and they ultimately scrapped it in order to get the bill passed. But I have a feeling that's what it's going to come down to. 44, 45 days from now when they're on to the next resolution, and like we were kind of discussing before the show. You really hate to see that partisan line divide. And heading into another resolution like this where it took McCarthy and McConnell kind of butting heads, and McCarthy had to be the one to say, I'm dropping the hardline stance, we got to get this passed, government has to operate. It really seems like people are really splitting hairs, tensions are rising. So that's never good when we're kind of in the macro state that we are, and we need a sense of unity in order to rebuild better, right? We don't want to see division and ego get in the way of the country being able to succeed and move forward.
Yep. Unfortunately, it's never going to happen because people have their heads lodged too far up their own fucking asses. So there is that. Let's kind of talk about what is going on this week from an economic standpoint. We had some manufacturing data today, some construction spending data today, nothing too noteworthy there. We heard from Fed Chair Powell and Fed President Harker. We have a bunch of other Fed officials speaking throughout the week. Powell kind of talking about, once again, reiterating that need for price stability, which I don't know if that spooked the markets a little bit, which he's been saying all along, because we did see things start to trend down when he was talking. And now, we have a lot of red across the board. Tech is giving back some of its early gains. He also discussed the job market and how the job market is so contingent on that price stability. Well, guess what, man? These inflation reports are not going in the right direction for that. And we'll get a new CPI print next Thursday, the 11th. Until then, though, like we got, let's see, JOLTS report tomorrow. So the job openings number expected to be at the same as last month, which was 8.8 million. On Wednesday, we get some private sector employment. That one's been surprising to the upside fairly consistently. Then on Thursday, we get initial jobless claims, a few more Fed presidents speaking. Friday is the big one. We get employment report, unemployment rate, hourly wages, and also consumer credit. That one comes out later in the day as opposed to most of the morning data dump. But we all know that, consumer credit, it's not going to be good. That's going to be a bad one. And that is not good if you're trying to, if you're relying on stocks or crypto as some form of stable asset class. Like it's going to get fucking rocky, guys. Like people are so out of their depth. People are, I'm getting hit up for money in Facebook messages now, like from people I haven't talked to in years. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It's really, really bad. I know our buddy Value and Time, same thing happening to him, getting hit up by his, like people are running out of money. It's really, really bad. It's really scary. And if you think that we're going to see some magical bullish catalyst in crypto when people are just trying to pay their bills, I got some bad news for you. I just don't see it. But you know what? Maybe I'm blind when it comes to this house.
No, I mean, I think you're right on target, and I think to kind of add and deepen that point a little more. The other thing that's coming up this month is student loan repayments are resuming for the first time since the pandemic, and that freeze kind of got put on. And I've mentioned it on here before. I had a bunch of friends personally who were 100% convinced, regardless of their loan amount, that was forgiven. It was a non-issue. They didn't need to pay back their college debt. And most of them were convinced in that until the clock struck October 1st, and there was no new legislation or executive order fighting it, or any update to the court case. So, yeah, I think we're in for a rude awakening, and I don't think it's just necessarily my age group or particular demographic. I think, there are a lot of people with college debt, and, when they're not paying it for 2 years, 2.5 years, and they've still got 5 to 6 figures of debt on their hand, they're overloaded with their credit card debt. The first thing they're going to want to pay isn't the thing they're not used to paying or had already given up on paying, right? So I think that's another thing that really just adds to that snowball effect of HELOCs, just everything that comes into that, credit card debt, car payments. I think we're coming in where we're going to hit a boiling point, and it might just cascade from there. I'm not saying that's going to be the month of October, but looking further into 2024, people aren't prepared and they're not planning to pay off those debts and pay off those loans. I could really see it getting ugly.
Yeah, absolutely. We've mentioned it previously. Like 90% of people who have student loan payments coming due are not expecting to be able to make those payments and still pay all of their other bills. Like, it's really ugly out there. It is time to batten down the fucking hatches. And if you wait until, the big boys start telling you to do so, it's probably already a little too late. My favorite thing is when I see all the overly bullish people out there, and I just politely ask, can you give me a couple reasons why you're so bullish right now? And it is purely based around the fact that October has been an up month in the past. And I'm just like, that's not a fucking reason. Like, can you please give me anything? And it's just silence. Ace, good to see you. Kevin is traveling today. He will be back tomorrow. And then I go on vacation. Kevin's been working. I'm going to go on vacation. But he'll be here with House to keep things chugging along. But yeah, man, it's a really important time to just be patient, have a level head about yourself, because it can get rough when the markets, get really volatile like this. Like, we could see a lot of up and down. And if you're looking at these like hourly charts or 15-minute charts, it can be overly stressful and it can lead to emotional decision making, which in times like this there's never a good time when it comes to your finances for emotional decision making. But now, especially when it gets really volatile, it can be bad. So, like, have a game plan for whether or not the month goes great or if it's an absolute shit show, because not enough people have that contingency. Not enough people have that backup. And if you don't, and you're just banking on, okay, I got to pay my bills, I'm going to keep it in crypto. Crypto is going to go up only this month. Then I'll be able to cash it out and pay my shit. It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. I know people are doing that kind of thing. Not a good idea. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I'll be the boring voice of reason. Don't fucking do that. So, once again, man, like, just hang on tight. What other news I know you brought up the UAW strike, how it's not fully over yet. What else, had come across your desk today? What were you looking at as far as news goes impacting the markets?
Yeah, so kind of within the UAW news. So basically what happened is Mack Trucks, which is a subsidiary of Volvo Group, and they do a lot of the industrial and commercial trucking. They reached an agreement. So there are about 4,000 of the UAW workers are covered within that group. But they reached an agreement with the UAW to not go on strike. However, that agreement hasn't been ratified by the UAW, so it's not technically in place yet, although it looks like that'll stop Mack Trucks from going on strike. However, that doesn't impact, I don't think, any of the current strikes going on between like Jeep, Chrysler, and GMC. I think it was a St. Louis, a Toledo, and a Detroit plant. So as far as I know, this news doesn't impact those situations, but it just shows that there may not be further strikes happening, and that there perhaps is some movement. But overall, it could just be smoke and mirrors saying we've stopped this portion, but consumer cars and automobiles aren't going to continue with like EVs or gas fueled. But so I think it's a semi positive sign, but it doesn't really affect the at large as far as if Ford and GM aren't making consumer vehicles and they can't meet that output for next year. We're already seeing car prices at pretty high relative to previous years, whether new or used. So I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on, but this could be a potential kind of like green light that the strike is, winding down a little bit, and we could see some positive things happen in that regard.
Yeah, we're seeing today GM is down a little over 2%. I'm wondering if once the strike does come to an end, is that potential also sell the news sort of a situation if the market's going to momentarily take that bullish and then we're going to realize, okay, we might have some back orders to work on, but we're also going to have to pay more now. Like they're going to have to adjust earnings expectations, cutting into their margins with higher salaries, also with how high car payments are, borrowing rates are. What is the pullback as far as new vehicle sales go? Are more people going to be having to, hold on to their cars for longer or go with like a cheaper alternative than buying a new car, go elsewhere with, and it could be one of those predatory things too, unfortunately, where people have to go somewhere with like really
Mm-hmm.
high rates, but low amount down to even get a vehicle in the first place. And that's also not good for the big boys like Ford and GM. So just kind of thinking out loud here, how that news could impact some of these major stocks. I think it's a short term, like a very short term, like 1 day bull catalyst before things maybe start to push back down. What else were you seeing news wise?
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of what I saw over the weekend. There was some interesting stuff in crypto. Nothing that was really, driving price action, but the FTX exploiter moved, I want to say somewhere around $50 million worth of ETH, transferred it to Thor, bridged to Bitcoin. And they were rumored to be behind some of the price volatility with the quick drop before there was the pump. But you can't really confirm anything on that. And then the other thing was Kyle Davies and Suju, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
Mhm.
They both got caught, and there was a pretty funny tweet that Davies had made about I'd rather be an incel than in a cell, and it's like, well, now it looks like you may be a little bit of both. So we'll see here there, but honestly, I think it's you know good for the crypto industry to kind of put that behind them and see a bad actor in the space like Zushu. He got 4 months in prison in Singapore. So just to see people take not even take responsibility, but get punished for their malicious or negligent action, I think is a good thing and will help drive some confidence going forward in the space.
Absolutely. Some of the stuff about SBF with like how he wanted to try to pay Trump $5 billion to not run in 2024 and some of this other stuff. That guy, once again, I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a political guy. I just say he's a piece of shit because he is a piece of shit. Like
Hmm.
SBF, like that guy. Oh man, he'll probably get away with all of this and get out of jail soon enough because he's got enough connections and enough family money. But boy, what an absolute dickhead.
I will say on the SBF front, I'm very excited for the start of that court case. I believe it's starting this week, but I just can't wait to hear some of the testimony. They've been saying they're going to have some of his closest friends personally, as well as some colleagues testifying in open court. So, we've heard some wild rumors about what went on with SBF as well as FTX on corporate time. Some pretty not safe for work stuff. So I just can't wait to hear that spoken aloud in a court of law, Southern District, New York 12, and just the words that shouldn't come out of anyone's mouth in a formal situation being read by, a lawyer and a prosecutor, defense attorney. It just that kind of stuff cracks me up. But now I'm really really intrigued by how the case will go. I think the defense said they only needed about a week to present their case, whereas the prosecution was looking anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks. So we don't know that that's the exact timetable of will things change within there. But, I hope to see SBF be held accountable for his actions at the very least. And whatever that looks like from a sentencing perspective, I mean, give him the max of what he can possibly be given.
Yeah, the judge stated that he's facing, quote, a very long sentence if convicted, and it appears that jury selection begins tomorrow. The most important thing with this trial for me is, do we finally get to see the SBF and Caroline sex tape? Because I was promised that many months ago, and we haven't gotten it yet, and it's pissing me off. I need to see
Well,
that.
that's
All right.
that's what I'm saying. If that comes up as relevant discovery, I mean, we don't need to dive into that, but no, I think that is something that I don't want to watch it, but I'm curious if that white hat or black hat, whatever he was in that role, if he was full of crap or if he actually found it.
God, I don't even know what to say. Are there any charts that you want to look at? Once again, Kevin's not here. I don't do charting, not my thing. But is there anything that you want to pull up on your end that we can take a look at before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah, I think one thing that might be interesting to look at, and then we can have Kevin walk through sometime later this week, is just noticing the separation between Bitcoin dominance. So when you're watching the charts and you're seeing, price swings that are impacting ETH and causing, massive dips aren't having as big of an impact on Bitcoin, and just trying to understand, the impact that'll have on altcoins when we enter this next cycle, see more volatility that maybe people are really fleeing to bitcoin or stables and that's where they're headed rather than trying to place their bets on smaller caps.
All right, let me pull up Trading View real quick. I got the daily chart here for Bitcoin dominance. So, we can see a lot of movement there today. It's back at levels that we last saw in August. So coming up on, since about 2 months since we've seen these levels for Bitcoin dominance, and it's taken a really big run up. Uh, I know Kevin's always, been very, very confident about the fact that like when Bitcoin dominance rises, you're going to see blood in alts. And we're seeing that play out now. You can include ETH in that. While Bitcoin is currently, on the 24-hour down about 0.5%, ETH is down 4%, Chainlink down 6.5%, Solana almost 2%. And we're also seeing a move up in stablecoin dominance as people are, swapping over to USDT and USDC. I'm also Kevin, I've learned something. I've learned that this red thing right here is a bearish engulfing candle. You've taught me something, which I didn't think was possible not because you're not smart, but because I'm an old guy and I don't know if I can learn new things. But I did learn that this red line here today that we are seeing is a bearish engulfing candle. So like I said, about 4% down since the new day started, wiping away all of yesterday's gains. All of that hopium, all of that joy was just sucked away from you people with this bearish engulfing candle. So there you
Now,
go.
JWeb,
That's what I know.
looking at this, you're leaving for vacation, probably going to be tuned away from the phone, the laptop, enjoying the time with your family. Are you what's your emotion headed into that? You're like not going to be able to check the charts, not going to be able to check the phone. You worried about
No,
any volatility, or are you pretty
I'll
settled
still
and
check
you're
stuff.
you're feeling safe for it? Still
No, I
checking,
mean
yeah. That's what we like
I'm
to see.
fine. I have my long-term positions that I don't mess around with. I just let, kind of hang out there. I have cash that is kind of ready to go. If we see a massive dump, I will absolutely get on and buy. Because if we see ETH crater to like 1,300, then yes, I will go ahead and we'll jump on. But for the most part, I have my DCAs set up for Bitcoin and Chainlink right now. They're just, small buys on a weekly basis. It'll be nice to kind of get away for a few days and like clear my head and level set things. But now I'll still be paying attention to what's going on in the markets. I'm just not going to be able to, get on and do the shows with you guys. So I'll watch back every day once you guys are done just to hear your thoughts and get a different perspective on it. But uh, I think I think we will see volatility. I don't think it's going to be a massive V-shaped recovery like a lot of people think it will be. I think once we hit that bottom, we may chop there for a while until something bullish actually happens. But that is how I'm approaching things heading into my vacation.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid way about it. I'm always kind of the same way where it's like I want to get this disconnect. I want to spend some time with the family. I want to not look at it. But if something happens, I'm whipping out the laptop and we're getting after it.
Yeah, we got our group text. You and Kevin should text next week. And if something major happens, send it to the group one so I get it as well. Otherwise, I'm not going to be checking that.
Yeah, no, I think that's the way to do it.
All right. That is how we are going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate everybody for watching. House, great having you with me again today. You and Kevin are going to do an awesome job over this next week. If you have not yet, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, drop some comments, share us out on social. We've added more subscribers. I'm really appreciative for that. It means the world to us. We really enjoy doing the show, and we hope that we put out some quality information for everybody. Ace, yes, I will not be surprised if he walks free. Is that a Tweezer Candle. Great show. Thank you very much, Randy. Bundy, good to see you as well. We got some of our usual suspects here, some new people also. So have a great day, everybody. House, thank you again. Make sure to be back here tomorrow, regular time with Kev. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say. You know, he always does, and Mr. House. So take care, everybody, and I'll see you next week.